you can testify to, is absolutely stunning. Sort of matches the view.
Yes, it looks fantastic. As I say, we wish we could be there, and we couldn't think of anyone better to bring us all the colour and atmosphere right throughout this afternoon of Darwin, the new Rod. So have a good day there, and we'll talk to you a little bit later this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll be back, Matt, because there's so many interesting people here. I don't know how we're going to fit it on. We might be still going at midnight.
Well, we've got plenty of time, right up until about 6 o'clock tonight, our time, so plenty of time to fit it all in. But as you say, there are a few special guests. I knew Gay was up there, but I didn't know Bart was up there. So they certainly do have a few of the high-profile trainers. Randwick will be a bit quiet today, though.
Well, that's right. All the heavy hitters are up north, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't blame them. Now, they're in the mounting yard at Randwick. Speaking of Randwick, for the next event, race 2 on the card.
Number 8, Oxidise, is Tim Norton. That's Darwin race number 2. And the horses are on their way to the gates there ahead of the first event on today's program. There's Anne-Marie White. She's on board number 6, which is Pence Lass. And it's a big day at Darwin, of course. The Cup is on later on this afternoon. The Darwin Cup is the final race on today's program. That race due at 5:50 p.m. Eastern summertime in Darwin. It's actually Eastern Daylight Saving Time, but in Darwin, it's pretty warm. Back with more after this. Meantime, in race number 1, High Revs at $2.40. Number 3, Montana Sky at $2.70. Canterbury's at 11, 12 for Gold Dot. $5.80 for number 6, Pence Lass. And 16 for number 7, Mr. Yates. And that's the first at Fanny Bay. It's over 1,000 metres. High Revs, as we mentioned, 3 starts for 2 wins and a third. Mick Stumbles will be our race caller today from Darwin. And it looks an absolutely magnificent day. A bit of a breeze blowing, but it's very warm there. Rod Gallegos is on track. We do have a camera behind the gates in Darwin, and they race on a surface which is oil-based. It's sand or dirt surface there, and you've really got to be a bit of a track specialist around Darwin. The Cup race is a terrific event later on in the day, the last event. It's a big field of 12 runners, and any horse could win the Darwin Cup. Chris Muntz is riding there today, Jimmy Byrne, Paul Denton, Corey Brown, Ben Cornell, quite a few of the very good jockeys riding at Darwin this afternoon. I know that Chris Muntz and Corey Brown will certainly be enjoying the carnival. High Revs at $2.40, Montana Sky at $2.70. That's not Michael Evans, that's ML Evans there, riding number 3, $2.70. $5.50 for number 6, Penta's Lass, in race 1 from Darwin. Hello to all the folks on track there today too at Darwin. This carnival, I remember, in the early days, has just grown from strength to strength, the Darwin Racing Carnival. A lot of the southerners head up to Darwin to enjoy the afternoon of racing. They obviously, quite a few of them don't want to come back after tomorrow morning. They just feel like they want to stay there forever. And I think some of them have, in fact. I haven't seen a couple of mates of mine for 11 years. Anyway, let's take it to Mick Stumbles right now for race number 1 at Fanny Bay.
Canterbury still away as High Revs is about to move in. The favourites ready, High Revs. 3 starts, 2 wins and a third. And Canterbury will complete the line. Schweppes Cup Day Class 1 over the 1,000. All in and ready. Light is on. Set now. Racing Gold Dot missed it by nearly 3/4 of a length, and Mr. Yates not all that well away. Montana Sky, High Revs out quickly. Penta's Lass between the pair of them, a half length further back. A length and a half, Canterbury getting back to Mr. Yates on the outside of Gold Dot. They're about 8 lengths off the lead. High Revs shot to the front, coming to the 600, worked away by 2.5 lengths to Penta's Lass. A length Montana Sky, high ridden. The leader's gone further ahead, High Revs. They're out by about 5 lengths then to Canterbury, Mr. Yates and Gold Dot. by the 400-metre point, and High Revs nicely clear. 3.5 lengths, Montana Sky. Pente's Lass, I think, has had enough the outside. 4 or 5, Canterbury, Misty Yates, and forget about Gold Dot, but down to the 200. High Revs about 2 lengths in advance of Montana Sky, under the whip, trying hard to pick the leader up, but all to no avail at the moment. High Revs is holding too many guns for Montana Sky. Canterbury getting home well late with Pente's Lass, but High Revs punched right out by Bates. Won by nearly 4 lengths to Montana Sky. 3/4 away third, Canterbury. Then Pente's Lass, 5 lengths, Misty Yates, and 20 lengths to Gold Dot, who didn't want to go at all today, last of all. Much too good, High Revs. 4-year-old chestnut gelding by a reversion out of La Operetta, owned and trained by Lynn Williams and ridden by David Bates. Second, number 3, Montana Sky, ridden by Michael Evans. And Canterbury, number 4, third, ridden by Adrian Groves. Basically straight to the front after the jump. High Revs travelled beautifully in the lead. It was quite noticeable at the 600 that Montana Sky and Pente's Lass were both under pressure and really making no headway. And this promising horse, only having his 4th start today, has now shocked up his 3rd win with a 3rd placing out of the 4 runs. So 1, High Revs, David Bates first. 3, Montana Sky, Michael Evans second. 4, Canterbury, Adrian Groves third. Pente's Lass will be 4th, and Misty Yates 5th, as we stand by for other details. The time was 58.36. 58.36. No margins to hand as yet.
It was Michael Evans riding. I do apologise there. I thought it might have been a different Evans, but it's Michael Evans. Race 1 going to number 1, High Revs. 3, Montana Sky, and number 4, Canterbury has run 3rd in the first event from Fanny Bay. Royal Randwick are up to race number 3 there in Sydney. Let's have a look at the at Darwin. Alrighty, David Bates, the winning rider of race number 1 from Darwin this afternoon on that dirt track. Should be a wonderful day of racing. We'll catch up with Rod Gallegos very shortly. He's in Darwin. I stayed here today to do Ring for Win. That's coming up in a moment. Yeah, the lucky people up in Darwin today, and as you can see there, this is in Australia. There's that lady there on the right-hand side with the hat on, wearing a short-sleeved ensemble, and she wouldn't be wearing that in Flinders Street, I can assure you, this afternoon. Now, race 1 at Darwin, number 1 High Revs at $1.80 and $1.30, Montana Sky $1.70, and Canterbury at no third dividend, Quinella $1.70, trifecta $13.50. That is for race number 1 at Darwin. Okay, now Randwick, let's have a look at the backside. G'day, Rodney.
Well, look, you wouldn't credit that we're in the middle of winter when you come to a place like Darwin. It's an absolutely superb day. With me now, of course, is the current Premier Jockey of the Northern Territory, and it's Paul Denton. Paul, you just won the premiership last season on Saturday.
Yeah, I hung on by 1 win, so David's won it the last 11 years, so it was finally good to win one.
Have you been close before?
I've been second on a few occasions. I've always gone down to Alice Springs and Adelaide for a holiday, so I really haven't spent a whole season here. And last season, it's the first time I spent the whole season here, but I won a couple in Alice Springs, and I think 1 year I ran second in Alice and second up here in the same year.
Anyway, well, it was a great thrill to break through for last season. This is a new season, and you've got some pretty imposing rides today. Coming up in the second, you're riding the big fella.
Yeah, the big fella's, he's been going very well. He's won his last 2 starts. He's racing against the same opposition, and I think he'd improve further in the 1200 will suit him, so it looks pretty hard to beat.
We move on to the third, Tambin Lad. It's well fancied.
I rode him Saturday in the 1200 metre sprint, and he got a long way back, so I don't think the 1000's going to suit him. But on his day, he can run a big race.
Tell us, how do you think this track's playing? Is it going to suit leaders, or can they come from back in the field?
Well, they have been coming from behind, but in the shorter races, it'll probably suit the leaders a bit.
Okay, move on to race 5. You're riding Merritts.
Yeah, he was a nice run the other day. I don't think he really just didn't get the miles, so the 1900 might be a problem, but if he can have a cosy run early, he might be some chance.
Yeah, then on to the 6th, Whiteman.
Yeah, He hadn't done a real lot here. He ran second the other day, actually, last Wednesday, but he's drawn barrier 12, so it'll make it tough for him.
All right, move on to the 7th for River Jude.
Yeah, he's been a consistent horse over the carnival. I think the mile will suit him, and a bit lighter weight. He's dropping from 59 to about 55, so he's some chance.
We come to the Cup. How was your record in the Darwin Cup in the past?
I haven't actually won one. I've ran second and a couple of thirds in the Cup, but he's probably one of my better chances. He's
Dr. Harry, of course, we're referring to in the Cup.
No, I'm riding on the beam.
On the beam, sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a genuine chance. He's only lightly raced. He's only had 19 starts. He's missed a few races earlier on in his career, but he won a 1900-metre lead up the other day pretty well, so he's got to be a good chance.
Actually, I can be forgiven for mixing up a few horses here. It's been a very tough campaign, but I shouldn't have overlooked On the Beam because I did tip it. I hope I don't get it beaten for you. You can always blame me. They always do.
Yeah, they tell me that, but I reckon it's going to change for you today.
Paul, I love your confidence. Congratulations on your premiership win. And more importantly, I hope we're congratulating you after the Cup.
Yes, same here. Thanks, Rod.
Now, there's Paul Denton. He's a jockey who's really on the beam.
Well, tell you what, he sure is. Thank you very much, Rodney. And Paul Denton is one of the best jockeys in that region. I've met Paul a couple of times. He can really ride, and he's a lovely fellow as well. And he enjoys living in Darwin and around those areas. He's a top rider. And some of the southern jockeys that get up to Darwin, they learn a thing or two from P. Denton, I can assure you. Now, Royal Randwick, and we go from Darwin to...
Here at Fanny Bay, as I said earlier, an absolute galaxy of stars here, and in particular, race callers. Here's the face behind the voice that you hear so often on Sky. It's Melbourne broadcaster Brian Blackmore, who's, I suppose, something of a Darwin veteran.
I've got the medals to prove it, right, and the scars.
Well, this is my first go, and how many years you been coming?
12.
Yeah, well, I doubt whether I could stand up to that sort of pressure.
Yeah, the experience that you gain for the first 10 years is ignored by year 12. Nothing's changed.
Brian, the organisation here and the hospitality is something else, isn't it?
Got to be seen to be believed, right? I keep on preaching every year when I go back, you know, you've got to come up here. You've got to come and have a look at it for yourself. I'm sick and tired of saying just how good it is, but every year it's just bigger and better.
Well, like as a Victorian, you can testify to the fact about the climate here.
That's one thing. I'd hate to come back and live. I'd hate to live up here knowing there was going to be 31, 32 degrees every day. No, I'll rephrase that. The next life I'm coming back as a weather forecaster up here.
Brian, well, let's have a look at the today's Darwin Cup. It's a race with plenty of chances.
It appears to be. I think the interesting part about it, Rod, is just going to be how this track behaves here today. On Saturday, it was pretty much leader-dominated, and for that reason, horses such as Sinclair and McJoey might have to be ridden for luck more than ability-wise, because they will get back. On the other hand, Belial sits up on the pace. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. If they start to win from behind, then you start looking at Sinclair and McJoey. But if they're sitting up front and winning, you go back to Belial without a chance. That's what I've done at the moment. Now, he carried 61 when he won the Chief Minister's Cup. He drops 2 kilos, but on the other hand, Sinclair meets him 5 k's better for last Wednesday, but Belial did win that race by 4 lengths. So the answer's a pineapple, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, well, your tip is to see how the track plays, and then form your opinion from that.
I reckon so. If they're coming from behind, then you get onto your Sinclair such, but if they're winning up front, stick with Belial. But before I go, mate, I've got a Centurio calls to all the crowd at the Lakeview Hotel in Bendigo, the Windermere Hotel in Bendigo, the Limerick Tavern in Bendigo, and the Border Inn at Moama. Those gentlemen up here are unbelievable. All the publicans from the 4 pubs, whether they get back on or not is a $64 million question.
Well, the one thing about coming here, you'll always want to come back.
They do, but this year they've seen a couple of sites of Darwin. Next year they reckon they're going to see them all.
Well, next time I come to Victoria, I'm going to Bendigo. I'll go round the pubs with you.
That's a deal, mate.
Brian Blackmore, as I said, the face behind the voice that you see on Sky, with his look at this year's Darwin Cup. More soon.
So we better get some warning before Galagos and Blackmore are loose on the pubs at Bendigo. Anyway, that was a good interview with Brian Blackmore. Good to see him again in Darwin. And Brian will be calling a race a bit later on. Now, race number 3 comes up after race 2 at Tarragona. Number 5, Angel Lee at $2.20. 4, Sheridan for race number 2 at Darwin. Correct weight at Terraugan. Now, riding change at Darwin. Race 5, number 8, Nora Fair is Wayne Kerford now. Race 5, number 8.
Island Time about to be let up. Moves into line. Caitlin's Mate coming up next, then Oxidize. The big fella still away with Rockin' Halo, Centre Edition, Lindale, and Stunning Victory. Now we're waiting for Rockin' Halo, Stunning Victory, Centre Edition, the big fella, and Lindale. A big fella, the odds-on favourite, and has every right to be. A very promising young horse. We might well see the best of him come the carnival next year, the big fella. He's about to be let up at the Premier Darwin jockey for the 98-99 season, Paul Denton aboard. Rockin' Halo still away with Centre Edition, Lindale, and Stunning Victory. The big fella not all that keen about moving up today. Now the attendants have him going in the right direction. He's moved in. Rockin' Halo about to come up. Centre Edition standing back with Lindale and Stunning Victory. Stunning Victory coming up. Lindale just behind the line, and Centre Edition looks like he'll probably be the last. Just about ready. The Optus 3-year-old Class 3. They look to be set. Centre Edition completes the line. We just wait for the starter to come round and send them on their way. Island Time drawn the inside. Light is now on. Set. Should go at any moment. Starter's not happy. He's looking down the line. Attendant in there with one drawn about gate 5 by the look of it. Racing now, and Lindale, the first one to come out of the machines. He landed clear by nearly a length and a half to Island Time, and the big fella quickly getting to third. Caitlin's Mate is out deep. Rockin' Halo further back in the field. In front of him, Centre Edition, drifting well back as they run up towards the 800-metre point is Oxidize, and Stunning Victory is got back to the tail of the field. Up to the 800-metre point, Lindale, aided by the inside running, showed in front about ahead the big fella. Centre Edition, the centre, Rockin' Halo is out 4 and 5 wide, working very hard. 2 or 3 lengths away, Island Time, a length and a half to Caitlin's Mate from Oxidize, making ground through along the inside. And Stunning Victory's toiling back at the tail of the field, about 4 lengths away. The big fella whipped up on the outside of Lindale, approaching the home turn, and the odds-on favourite looks to be going very well indeed. 3 lengths away, Rockin' Halo, dropping out of it, Centre Edition, Island Time the outside, but Denton released the brakes on the big fella, and he raced away about a length and a half in front of Rockin' Halo in second spot. Then Lindale, who's had enough further back. Centre Edition running home well. The big fella nicely clear with about 30 or 40 to run, and he's home and ho's the favourite. The big fellow's going to trot in by 3.5 lengths. Door tight second and third. Centre Edition, I think, has just held on for second from the fast finishing Stunning Victory. Island Time not far away. A break, Rockin' Halo, Oxidize, Caitlin's Mate, and the early leader Lindale knocked up to run last of all. Much too good for them. The big fella was travelling on a piece of cotton for Paul Denton for most of the race, and in no danger of defeat. Number 1, the big fella, a 3-year-old bay gelding by Greg out of Sound of Spring, owned by J.A. and Mrs. D.J. Coleman, Mesdam's Jan Grice and Carol Mackenzie, trained by Alwyn Trengrove and ridden by Paul Denton. Now, Centre Edition will get second from the fast finishing Stunning Victory, who was absolutely scorching down the outskirts of the track. But Centre Edition looks like he's held on to run second. Number 6, ridden by Brendan Sweeney, and 4, third, Stunning Victory, ridden by Anne-Marie White, who was about 6 lengths behind the second last horse at one stage, but by gee, he got home very powerfully indeed. So it should be 164 after the Optus 3-year-old Class 3.
Alrighty, good on you, Paul. Nice ride, wasn't it, by P. Denton, and that horse was just going along quite smoothly. Stunning Victory wasn't a bad performance for third. It was coming home well as well. Number 4, Stunning Victory. 1, 6 and 4 shouldn't be a bad trifecta on that race. Race 1 at Mooney, but it is a magnificent day there in the Northern Territory, and the winner was the big fella, 151.10. The big fella there has had a pretty good record. In fact, it's now had the 4 starts, now 5 starts for 3 wins and a second. And it won, beating Centre Edition and Stunning Victory. Not a bad trifecta, as you can see, of $103.30. All you needed to do, really, was pick the horses that ran second and third, because the leader and the favourite look pretty hard to beat on paper. Well, you certainly cannot have a race day or Darwin the way it is without good sponsors. And Rod Gallegos is talking to one of those terrific sponsors right now.
Well, thanks again, Nick, back here at Fanny Bay on a very vibrant Darwin Cup Day. As I said earlier, sponsorship's important, and another very important aspect of any racing carnival is accommodation. We're fortunate enough to be staying in the best, the MGM Grand, and with me now is the General Manager of the MGM Grand, J.D. Clayton. Well, as I said, it is certainly a great place to stay.
Thank you very much. We really are having a great year at MGM Grand, and certainly happy to be a part of the racing carnival here.
Well, as I said, the accommodation is very important, and at this time of the year it's sort of at a premium because so many people come.
That is true, and I probably speak on behalf of all the hoteliers here. We could certainly all use maybe 200 or 300 extra rooms during the racing carnival. That would help.
Apart from the racing carnival, what's the tourism like here in Darwin?
Well, there is really a lot to see and do here in Darwin, including in the off-season, which we would call our wet season here. It's really 2 types of events that happen. The dry season, of course, presents its own little features, but certainly the wet season is something to behold as well here.
It certainly is. It's a wonderful part of Australia, and the thing about it is the food's great. The seafood is outstanding.
Yes, and it doesn't get any fresher than here. So.
Now, your involvement with the Darwin Cup Carnival, that's been over quite a period?
The casino, since its inception, has always been part of the Darwin Cup Carnival here. MGM Grand, when we acquired the property here, we felt that we would like to continue with that tradition, and we have, and we really embrace it. It's a great thing to be a part of.
In addition, of course, to the accommodation at the MGM Grand, a vital part is the casino, and I believe throughout this carnival it's been packed every night.
Yes, we have been enjoying a great crowd there, and I'm hoping that they've enjoyed themselves as well. We try to make it as pleasing and as fun as we can possibly be there, and hope that the people have a great time as well.
Well, I think I'm testimony to the fact that people do enjoy Darwin, and more particularly enjoy the MGM Grand.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
J.D. Clayton talking with us there. He's the General Manager of the MGM Grand, which is a grand place to stay. Thanks, Nick.
Certainly is. Thank you, Rodney. Of our 4, 2 and 10, 9, 1 and 6, they are the top market movers there at Mooney Valley. This one's going to be pretty...
Yeah, good on you, Nick. As I said many times, the glamour of the racetrack is really to the fore here at Fanny Bay for the Darwin Cup. With me now today, the important facets of the off-track activity, of course, is the fashions in the field. And with me is the editor of the Women's Weekly, which is Julia Zayata, and of course her fashion writer, Deborah Hutton. Julia, have you looked at the fashions here today, and what do you think?
Indeed. Oh, we're very wonderfully surprised. They look terrific, all these girls, and I think the thing is that they are so appropriately dressed for the climate. You were saying that before too. Wonderful outfits so far. We haven't seen them all.
This is the thing. I mean, I think the wonderful thing is you actually don't have winter fashions up here, so it's quite good because we're seeing some great summer dresses, and it's good to see that the girls are really so enthusiastic. There's quite a few entrants in the Women's Weekly fashions on the field, so we're pretty excited about that. This is our first time sponsoring it, and I think it's going to be a great success.
And not going to be our last, hopefully.
Well, I consider myself a pretty good form student, and I've been stunned by the girls in Darwin.
You look in pretty good form yourself, actually.
Say the same.
Deborah, would you like to stay for the rest of the day?
I'm here.
I don't get many raps. What's the prize in the fashions in the field?
We're not absolutely sure about that.
Oh no, well there's
something
prizes to value about $6,000. There's wardrobes, there's flights away, there's holidays, there's lots of champagne, and so it's all the things that you would expect they'd have a luxury day. And I tell you what, there's actually there's lots of giveaway prizes as well, and there is only one winner, so it's going to be pretty tough, but we'll give it our best.
How big a field do you expect?
Well, it looks enormous just at the moment. We think there's probably a lot more than what's out on the field out there. We're very pleased about that.
And you're obviously enjoying Darwin. You've been here before?
I've been here before, and I've been up here a couple of days before the race today, and I think it's a wonderful place. I'd actually quite like to live here for a while.
Well, Deborah, you do go to a few race meetings. Have you had a look at the cup form?
Look, to tell you the truth, no. But you know what? It's one of those things, you've got to get the feel for it. I've got to actually talk to a few punters today. That's usually what happens. By the end of the day, I'll have it all worked out. But mind you, $5 each way is about as good as I go. So.
And we did actually like the big fella in the second race. We thought he was pretty terrific, and unfortunately, we didn't put anything on him.
Oh, well, fair enough. OK. Well, Julia, thank you very much. And Deborah.
Pleasure.
I realise you've got a very tough job here today, but if you need a hand, I'm always there to help you.
We'll call on you.
Might just do that.
Julia Zayeda, who's the editor of the Women's Weekly, and Deborah Hutton here with the fashions on the field. Let's go now to the live racing action at Terralgan.
Ready for start?
Well, I'm not too sure whether I'm a connoisseur, mainly because I refuse to swish it round my mouth and spit it into a bucket, but I am partial to a drop of Riesling, and also I've been known to have a drop of red. And what better man to talk to about the subject, and also on the subject of horses, is Mr. Wolf Blass.
How are you, Rod? It's nice to see you, and I saw you drinking plenty of red wine at the Carbines luncheon the other day.
Well, I'm an honest man, I've got to admit it, and furthermore, I enjoyed it.
Yes, I think it was just a great function, and I think coming up here 17 years, and we're sponsoring the Wolf Blass Lightning Stakes, it's always a great event, and you're going to have 20,000 people here today in a city which only got 75,000 people. It's 25% of the total population is turning up here. It's just absolutely incredible.
Quite remarkable,
yeah.
But an enormous number of visitors, and you obviously love coming here.
Yes, I'm coming up here and I'm going fishing, and I think we finished up with 105 kilos of fillets the other day.
Well, it must go well with the Rhine Riesling.
It will, and I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with it. We may have to pass it on to some of the restaurateurs.
Well, Wolf, you of course, have had quite a deal of success as a racehorse owner. You won a Brisbane Cup with grooming. I suppose that was the highlight.
Yes, that was the highlight, because it was my first Cup win. And then, of course, you know, with Dashing Eagle winning the Flight Stakes and winning the 1,000 guinea with Bart Cummings. That was, of course, also a great highlight. Now I'm trying to get another one somehow.
Are you still going to maintain Eagles in their name?
Everything is going to be Eagle, and I think the one is just been born by Dashing Eagle. I think I'm going to call it Millennium Eagle out of Whitman.
Well, we certainly can look forward to seeing that on the racetrack.
Yeah, in a couple of years' time. The only thing is we're going to get older, and I think it's getting harder and harder to maintain the double standard.
Well, Wolf, the one thing about it, you can age gracefully, of course, drinking your lovely drops.
Yes, I think that's the only thing which really keeps me going, and my young wife.
All right, now, Wolf, as I said, you're a bit of a racing expert. Your race is coming up, the Wolf Blass Lightning. Can you enlighten us with a tip?
Yes, I personally think that Chris Munce has been riding for me in Sydney and in Brisbane. A lovely fellow, very professional. He's getting everything out of a horse. I would think high esteem for 11 to 10, evens money. I think it's a good bet.
All right, well, you can't get any better than that, because I'm sure you're a good judge of both wine and horse fleece. So.
And I'm opening the champagne corks already for the celebration.
You are, well, and I suppose Chris Munce can look forward to a nice sling.
He doesn't drink very much, you know, unfortunately.
Well, I'm pretty friendly with him. I'll help him.
OK, I'm telling him that.
Wolf Blass, his tip in his race, which is coming up next, it's the Wolf Blass Lightning. He likes high esteem, and he, of course, runs that company that produces very high esteem wines.